Today I had my cervical cell treatment following my abnormal smear test, which was a few months ago now. Loop diathermy treatment to the cervix, and that involved removing the abnormal cells that had been found in my routine smear test. And so I attended the hospital this morning, and it was the same setup as where I had my biopsy. So I went to the same room, got undressed in the same way, was on the same bed, but it was just the tools that were used that were different to treat my condition. Now they found that I was SIN2 for abnormal cells, which basically means that 2/3 of my cervix were affected by the abnormal cells, which was caused by the HPV virus. Now I've had a lot of people say to me, HPV virus is a sexual virus. It is contracted by intercourse, but it's not the same as an STI or an STD. It's not an infection, it's not a disease, it is a virus, much like the common cold. And the majority of women will have it at some point in their life. So the chances are, if you're not a virgin, you probably already do have or have had the HPV virus. The difference is that bodies normally have an immune system where they can fight this virus like you would a common cold. It could last you a day, it could last a week. Some people, it stays in their bodies, and this is what develops precancerous cells. I had the HPV virus stay inside my body, and this is why my abnormal cells developed into SIN2. So coming in for my treatment today, I first spoke to the consultant, who asked me if I'm a smoker, which I'm not and never have been, and she also asked me when my last period was. I'm actually on my period today, which is so inconvenient because I have very bad stomachache, backache, cramps, bleeding, kind of, you know, that general rubbish feeling. And it's very similar to the symptoms that I've been having for several months now because of my abnormal cells. It's a period that never ends. It just goes on and just makes you feel worn out and tired and achy and just blah, really. I've had a horrible hollow feeling below my ribs here in my stomach now, and I don't remember what it's like to feel normal really anymore. So having my period today was just kind of the icing on the cake really that made me tender, but at the same time I thought, I'm not going to delay my treatment. This needs to be done, and you just have to suck it up, you know, man up and get on with it. So going in for my treatment, I stripped from the waist down and laid on a bed with my legs up in stirrups again, so the lady could get access to the area. She inserted a speculum, which goes in and keeps you open, and then she could insert the tools needed to perform the procedure. She then, after inserting the speculum, said to me that because I had the coil fitted as a form of contraception, which is a small T-shaped device in the opening of the womb and cervix, she said that gets in the way, and they're at risk of burning it and damaging it, so they had to remove my coil. I wasn't actually informed about this beforehand. Even at my biopsy it was fine, nobody mentioned it, but today I wasn't expecting to have my coil removed, which in itself is an unpleasant procedure, to be able to pull that out. Oh. If you've had children, you probably understand the pain involved with entering the womb. It feels like you've been punched in the stomach, which left me feeling rubbish. I then had a needle, an anaesthetic, and the needle was about this long. It was a big metal thing with scissor handles on it and a big device. You know, like on a torture show, that's exactly what it looked like when mad doctors have them all on metal trays with knives and things. She said to me, look to one side, you'll feel a sharp scratch and then it will be over with. And so she put the needle up inside me, injected directly into the cervix where the treatment was being done. And yeah, it was a sharp pinch and then it was over. She then moved on to beginning the procedure. I first had a cold gel pad attached to my leg, which had wires on it, and I think she said something to do with the fact that the laser, the loop laser that would burn the cells out of me, it had an electrical current pass through them, so this would help to counteract the electricity or something. I think effectively how you would earth a light or something. Then the adrenaline from the needle kicked in, which meant that my heart was beating. It was kind of doing that, and I was short of breath, and I was sitting on the bed, and it was very accelerated, heightened kind of panicky really, it made me feel, but she said it's completely normal that your heart beats very fast. It left my legs visibly shaking as I'm sat there because of the adrenaline. But there was nothing I could do, I just had to kind of sit there and get ready for it really. And then finally I was handed a tube which looked like a Hoover pipe. And she explained that when they burn the cervix, smoke comes off of it, which obviously is in a contained area inside of you, that has to be released. So as unpleasant as it sounds, she used this pipe as a Hoover to suck the smoke away whilst she was burning me. So I'm holding this pipe and my heart's going, I've got my legs and I'm scared of the needle, and it was ugh. And she began the procedure then using the loop device, which is about that long, and it has a small hoop on it, a bit like a spoon that's hollow, so it just has the edge of it. That goes through the speculum into the cervix and snatches at areas where the cells are and burns it away and closes you up, so it takes that out. She then kept the cells that were removed and put them beside her on the metal rack into a pot of liquid, because that's going to the lab to be tested to make sure that since my biopsy it hasn't spread and got worse. So she took away all of the visible cells that she could see, and then from those cells they will be examined further to make sure that it hasn't developed into full-on cancer. I felt a kind of tuggy, pulling kind of sensation. It was a kind of dull, achy feeling for a few minutes. I did feel some kind of sharp pains a couple of times, which maybe perhaps it was where the cells were in the middle. She was burning further afield, and that might have not been numb or treated, so I got a kind of feeling every now and then, but as soon as I felt it, it was already over with, so it wasn't anything that I couldn't deal with. Finally, at the very end of the procedure, I felt a very sharp, hot pain to the left-hand side of my stomach, so over here, and I said to her, "Oh God, I can feel that." And she told me she was using a ball device, like a kind of hot ball, that they put in it and they burn the flesh closed where they've removed the cells. So that is to stop the bleeding. And she said, yeah, I'm just working in that area at the moment. I've burnt that shut. But then it was over with very quickly. And in total, it took about 15 minutes to complete the procedure. I was left feeling shaky from the adrenaline. And just kind of niggly where I'd had my coil removed, I was on my period, and I'd had this treatment as well. I was losing blood, which they said is completely normal, but I don't know if that's from my period blood or the procedure blood, for which I have to wear a sanitary towel because tampons aren't allowed. The whole area has to be well left alone for a month now. The flesh inside has to heal, so using a tampon is out of the question. Any kind of intercourse out of the question. Swimming, excessive exercise, heavy lifting, anything that can cause it to open risks infection. So it's very important to rest up and just leave it well alone. But how I'm feeling right now, you would not go near that in a million years because it's so tender. Well, the only thing that I can compare the sensation to, which is going to sound seriously strange, is you know when you roast a chicken in the oven and it's very hot, you have like a chicken breast. It feels like somebody has inserted a roast chicken breast into me because it's a swollen, sore feeling that's hot. And it feels as if the speculum's still holding me open almost. It's kind of pressure. And yeah, that's what it kind of feels like, a hot chicken breast been inside of me. Directly after my procedure, they gave me 2 paracetamol to help with the pain, and they just said this will help you to get home and rest up and not feel so because I was shaking and I was quite white and shivery and just, it was not a nice procedure, but at the same time it's very, very necessary. I was then informed that I could have my coil fitted again, so a brand new coil, in 6 to 8 weeks time, because first the cervix has to heal, and if you have anything in there that traps blood, it can cause infection because of the open wound. So I'm seeing my doctor tomorrow to have a consultation to see if I am still an ideal candidate for the coil to be refitted in 2 months' time once I've healed and been given the all clear. And then following this, I will have a follow-up smear test in 6 months' time to make sure that my cells have remained normal. And before then, I will obviously get the results from the lab about the cells that were removed today. So I know they're Syn 2. The doctor said that she had removed all of them, as well as the surrounding area as well, to ensure that it had all been taken away, and that I was as happy and healthy as I could be. I've been given an aftercare sheet. If I have any discomfort, then I can take ibuprofen or paracetamol, but not aspirin because it thins the blood. If any excessive bleeding occurs that soaks through a pad or comes out in clots, then I should contact the surgical assessment unit at the hospital. If there are going to be any problems, they will normally occur within the first 24 hours or in 10 to 14 days following my treatment. Any discharge should decrease after about 10 days. It's not unusual for it to last up to 3 weeks. Rarely, but sometimes, if you do get an infection, it will happen 10 days or so after the treatment. If there's any bleeding, offensive discharge, backache, you will need antibiotics. Contact your GP as soon as possible. It says here that the treatment today will not affect my monthly cycle, but if I have any concerns, then I can contact the clinic and the nurse that did the procedure. If I require a follow-up appointment, it will come to me by post, which will happen following the results from my labs in around 6 weeks' time. And other than that, that's my treatment in a nutshell, really. As I say, I am losing blood now, but because I have my period, I don't know if that's because of the procedure or just Mother Nature. I haven't noticed a difference in discharge at the moment, but you know, that could happen in so many days' time. I will be vigilant, but at the moment I just feel I'm ready for bed. And I'm hugging my stomach and just sending you lots of love and best wishes, really. If this is something you're going through, then I hope you understand that it's a procedure that isn't very nice, but is definitely necessary, and it saves your life. I mean, for 15 minutes of discomfort, I now know I have the rest of my life with my children, and to me that is absolutely priceless. And I hope this brings you some more information on the subject and my experience of it. I think the majority of women that go through this don't feel any pain. They don't always have symptoms. You know, you might not even pick up on your body changing, but I think it's important to never miss a smear test. Always be vigilant with your health, and don't take life for granted, because it is so short and so many things can go wrong. If left untreated, HPV can develop into cancer, and I'm very grateful that it's been caught before this happened to me. So please share this message with your friends, your family, your work colleagues, your neighbours, everybody and anybody, that you have to get checked. Don't be embarrassed, don't be scared. It's a very short procedure for the rest of your life to live and be healthy. So thank you very much, and I hope I don't look too rubbish while I'm telling you all this and I haven't scared you too much, but I just wanted to be honest and tell you how today went for me. So I'm sending you again, as always, my love and thoughts, and hope that you will get through this just as I have. Thank you.